Wow, so it looks like someone's been doing their homework. AI, quantum computing, longevity. You've really gone all in on this one.
Quite the reading list you've compiled.
It is, it is. A lot to process, to be honest. But that's why we do these deep dives, right? Help make sense of it all, pull out the really interesting stuff.
Absolutely. Distill it down, make it digestible.
Exactly. And honestly, what jumps out at me, just glancing at these titles, is this idea that, we're not just talking about understanding this tech, but like how it could actually change what it means to be human.
Yeah, I see that thread running through a lot of these sources too. A real desire not just for more life, but a better quality of life.
Right. Like one of these articles, I think it's from Fountain Life, talks about AI being used to create a digital twin of your body.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Mapping your health at a molecular level.
Wild, right? So, what do you think? Is that like science fiction, or is this something we could actually see in our lifetime?
I think it's closer to reality than we might think. AI is already making huge strides in analyzing data, spotting patterns we humans just can't see.
So, you're saying this digital twin, it could actually, predict health problems before they even happen?
Potentially, yeah. Imagine knowing not just what your current health status is, but what your trajectory is likely to be based on your genetics and your lifestyle choices.
It'd be like having a crystal ball for your health. I love the idea of personalized medicine, moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach. Like I'm seeing that pop up more and more in these articles.
Yeah, it's a really exciting area. AI can sift through mountains of data, connect the dots between genetics, lifestyle, and outcomes. The possibility of preventing disease rather than just treating it after the fact. That's huge.
Totally. But I gotta admit, I'm still kind of stuck on the whole aging thing itself. Like, at a cellular level, what's actually happening that makes us get older?
Right, right. Well, there's a lot of research going on around the epigenome. One of your sources, I think it was, hold on, let me find it. Ah, here we go. It describes the epigenome as the software that controls our genes.
Software. So is that like our DNA is the hardware and the epigenome is the operating system?
Exactly. And as we age, that software can get a little glitchy. Genes that should be active get turned off, others get turned on when they shouldn't be.
Our cells are like forgetting their programming.
Kind of, yeah. And the really exciting part is that researchers are figuring out how to reprogram the epigenome, like hitting the reset button and getting those cells back to a younger, healthier state.
Wait, seriously? That's like reversing aging, not just slowing it down.
It's still early days, but there have been some pretty remarkable results. One of the articles you sent talked about David Sinclair's work reversing age-related vision loss in mice.
Yeah, and they're testing that on primates now, right? I mean, what happens if that actually works in humans?
That's the big question, isn't it? If we could actually turn back the clock on things like vision loss, heart disease, even cognitive decline, it would be a paradigm shift for sure.
Mind-blowing, honestly. But all this talk about massive data and tweaking genes, I gotta ask, is AI really powerful enough to handle all this? It seems like a pretty tall order.
It is, and that's where quantum computing comes in. One of your articles dives into how it could revolutionize biology.
Quantum computing, that always seems super futuristic to me. Like, I know it's supposed to be way faster, but how does it even work?
Okay, so imagine a computer that can be both a 0 and a 1 at the same time.
Wait, what? How is that even possible?
It's quantum mechanics, it's weird, it's complicated. But basically, these qubits could be in multiple states at once, so they can handle exponentially more information than a regular computer.
So it's like a super-powered computer that can do calculations in seconds that would take normal computers years.
Exactly. And for something like drug discovery, that's a game changer. Imagine being able to design and test new drugs in computer simulations without all the trial and error in the lab.
Right, and we were talking about personalized medicine earlier, so could this mean like custom-designed drugs tailored to your specific genetic makeup?
That's the idea. There are companies already working on this, like in silico medicine. But with quantum computing, we could take it to a whole new level. Imagine treatments that are more effective, fewer side effects, maybe even cures for diseases that are untreatable today.
Okay, now that is exciting, but let's say all this crazy stuff does happen. What can people do now to get ready for it? Like, are there things we can do today to improve our chances of actually benefiting from these breakthroughs?
Well, one of the articles you shared, it talks about Peter Diamandis and his concept of longevity practices, things you can do today to improve your health span.
Health span, so not just how long you live, but how well you live.
Exactly. And Diamandis argues that by making some simple changes to our daily habits, we can dramatically increase our odds of living longer, healthier lives.
Okay, I'm all ears. What kind of changes are we talking about?
Well, he talks a lot about diets, for one thing, cutting back on sugar, focusing on whole foods, lots of plants.
Yeah, sugar's gotten a pretty bad rap lately. I'm seeing that everywhere.
And for good reason. It's inflammatory, messes with your metabolism. Your source here from I think is the name of source. They cite a bunch of studies showing how bad sugar is for you.
Interesting. So what, like fruits and veggies are the key?
Definitely part of it. And healthy fats. The idea is to reduce inflammation, keep your cells happy and healthy.
Makes sense. So what about exercise? Any specific recommendations there?
He's a big fan of resistance training, especially as we age.
Really? Why's that?
Well, building muscle, it's not just about looking good, right? It's about strength, mobility, keeping your metabolism humming, plus strong muscles protect your bones, even help with brain function. It's all connected.
Huh. I never thought about it like that. I do feel better when I'm lifting weights, I have to admit. More energy.
Exactly. And Diamandis doesn't stop there. He also talks about the importance of mindset,
Okay, hold on. Mindset. What does that have to do with living longer?
more than you might think. Staying positive, having a sense of purpose, being socially connected, all these things seem to have a real impact on longevity.
So it's not just about taking care of your body, but your mind and your social life too.
It's all part of the package. Longevity is a holistic thing. Mind, body, spirit.
I like that. Okay, so that's the optimistic view. But some of the sources you sent, they get into the downsides of AI too. Like what happened when machines can do all our jobs?
Right, job displacement is a real concern, and it's something we need to be thinking about now, not later.
So what? Are we all going to be out of work? What are people supposed to do?
Well, one of the articles, it argues that we need to focus on skills that AI can't replicate. Things like creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, the uniquely human stuff.
Yeah, robots aren't exactly known for their empathy, are they?
Not yet, anyway. But seriously, we need to adapt. Our education systems, job training, it all needs to shift to prepare people for this new world.
Okay, that's one thing. But what about the potential for AI to be used for bad stuff, like creating deep fakes, spreading misinformation? That seems pretty scary to me.
It is, and that's why it's so important to develop ethical guidelines, safeguards, to make sure AI is used responsibly.
Easy to say, hard to do, right? Especially with how fast this tech is evolving.
It's a challenge, for sure, but there are people working on it. One of your sources here, it highlights the need for transparency, accountability, human oversight. We can't just let AI run wild.
Yeah, the 2024 election was a real eye-opener. All those AI-generated fake news stories felt like we were on the verge of chaos.
It was a wake-up call, for sure. We need to get better at spotting these deepfakes, developing countermeasures.
So it's like a race then, the good guys versus the bad guys, both using AI as their weapon.
In some ways, yeah, but I don't want to get too doom and gloom here. I think we also need to remember the potential for good. AI can solve some of the biggest problems we face: climate change, disease, poverty.
Yeah, that's true. It's not all bad, obviously. Okay, so on a slightly lighter note, one of the articles you sent mentioned the Fermi paradox. Now, I gotta admit, I'm a little fuzzy on that one.
Ah, the Fermi paradox. It's basically this. If the universe is so vast, statistically speaking, there should be other intelligent life out there. So where is everyone?
Good question. So what, are we alone in the universe? Is that what it's saying?
Well, not necessarily. One possibility is that advanced civilizations, instead of flying around in spaceships, they've gone inward,
Inward, what do you mean?
into virtual worlds. Your source suggests that maybe, just maybe, the most advanced civilizations have created realities inside computers that are so amazing, so immersive, they have no need to explore the physical universe.
Whoa, that's trippy. So, like, instead of sending probes to Mars, they're building their own universes in the metaverse.
Exactly. And if they can do it, who's to say we won't follow suit? I mean, think about how realistic VR is getting. It's not that crazy to imagine a future where we spend more time exploring digital realms than physical ones.
Okay, now that is a mind-blowing thought. But if we're talking about blurring the lines between reality and simulation, there's another big question that comes up in these articles. The whole idea of relationships with AI. AI companions, romantic partners. It's a pretty hot topic.
It is, and it's not just science fiction anymore. People are forming real bonds with AI chatbots. They're finding comfort, companionship, even intimacy.
Yeah, I've heard about that, but isn't it kind of sad? Like replacing real human connection with a machine?
Well, one of your sources makes the point that these AI companions are actually fulfilling a need, especially in our modern world where people are so busy, so isolated.
I guess that's true. It's easy to judge, but loneliness is a real thing.
And as AI gets more sophisticated, these relationships are only going to get more complex. Imagine an AI companion that knows you better than you know yourself, who can anticipate your needs, offer support, challenge you intellectually.
Okay, now you're making it sound kind of tempting, but seriously, where does this all lead? What happens to the idea of love, of intimacy, when you can have an AI partner that's basically programmed to be perfect for you?
It raises some really deep questions about human connection. What does it mean to be vulnerable, to make mistakes, to grow together with another person when you can have an AI that's always there, always understanding?
It's almost like we're redefining what it means to be human. Okay, one last big question before we wrap this up. What happens to the idea of value, of purpose, in a world where AI can create almost anything instantly?
It's a question a lot of people are grappling with. If AI can create art, music, even whole virtual worlds, what's left for us to do? What's the point of it all?
Yeah, like if a machine can whip up a masterpiece in seconds, does human creativity even matter anymore?
Well, one perspective is that it actually frees us up. One of the articles you sent, it argues that AI could liberate us from work. Not just jobs, but like the grind, the need to produce just to survive.
So instead of being stuck on a treadmill, we could focus on things we actually enjoy, pursue our passions, spend more time with loved ones.
Exactly, and maybe even contribute to society in new ways. If AI is handling the basics, we can focus on the bigger picture, solving problems that require human ingenuity, creativity, compassion.
So it's not about being replaced by AI, but about finding ways to work with it.
Yeah, like imagine a world where people are free to explore their creative potential, to learn new things, to dedicate themselves to causes they care about without having to worry about paying the bills.
That sounds pretty utopia. But I also wonder about the role of entrepreneurship in a world like that. You've built your career on solving problems, creating new things. What happens when AI becomes the ultimate problem solver?
I think entrepreneurship will evolve. Instead of just building companies for profit, it'll be about tackling the really big challenges, things like climate change, inequality, even the ethics of AI itself.
So less about making money, more about making a difference.
Yeah, it'll be about using technology, including AI, to create a better future for everyone.
Okay, so maybe there's hope for us humans after all. All this talk about AI solving problems makes me wonder about our own evolution. One of your sources, it draws a pretty wild parallel between the emergence of multicellular life and humanity evolving into a kind of meta-intelligence.
Yeah, that's a fascinating concept. Billions of years ago, single-celled organisms started incorporating new technologies, like mitochondria, and eventually they joined together, forming complex, multicellular life.
So you're saying that AI, all these emerging technologies, they're like our mitochondria, helping us connect, collaborate in ways we never could before.
That's the idea. As we integrate AI into our lives, as we develop things like brain-computer interfaces, we're essentially creating a new kind of collective intelligence.
Whoa, like we're all becoming part of one giant brain.
It's a possibility. And it raises a pretty profound question. If we're headed towards this meta-intelligence, what role will you play in shaping it? What will your contribution be?
That's a great question for our listener to ponder. It's a reminder that the future isn't something that just happens to us. We have a choice, we have agency.
Exactly. The future of AI, the future of humanity, it's not set in stone. It's something we're creating right now through the choices we make.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. From AI extending our lives to falling in love with robots. We've talked about the ethics of it all, the challenges, the opportunities. It's been quite a journey.
And I think the biggest takeaway is this. The future doesn't have to be something we fear. It's something we can shape. And the more informed we are, the better equipped we are to make those choices.
So to our listener, I say this. Keep learning, keep questioning, keep imagining. The future's being written right now. And you have a role to play in the story.
And remember, this is just the beginning of the conversation. There are tons of resources out there to help you dive deeper into these topics. So keep exploring.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay optimistic. We're all in this together. 220A 26 point.